The southern border is no more. It doesn't exist. Biden told us his phone app for illegals was going to tighten things up. Remember that? Migrants could just make a reservation to break into the country, like open table for illegals. Do you have room for a party of 34 at 8 o'clock? Why, yes. Do you need a high chair? Why, yes, we do. We need 6. Here's the problem. The app's busted. It's worse than the Obamacare website because Joe isn't even trying to fix this. He has a new strategy. He's giving up on the app. You don't need a reservation to break into the country anymore. Now, it's first come, first serve. Illegals show up to the border, Biden lets them in, and then they disappear. Biden has ordered the Border Patrol not to track them. Biden has ordered the Border Patrol to not give them dates to show up at a hearing. They're off the grid. And the ones that do have hearings, you ready? There's a 10-year wait time. The next opening for an immigration hearing is June 2033. Ay caramba. Pencil it into your calendar, Jose. Try not to schedule anything on June 1st, 2033. Now, Joe knows none of these migrants are showing up in court, and he knows they're not really fleeing violence because they wouldn't be fleeing to New York and Chicago. Now, in a generation, Texas is going to be a Democrat state, and the Republican candidate for president is only going to be able to look at the White House from the outside. Every migrant can be just like the Bidens now. No one pays their taxes. But Biden swears he's on it, and he's working around the clock, cutting deals with Mexico.
And is Mexico doing enough, sir? Are they taking enough enforcement?
Yes, I spent an hour with the president of Mexico yesterday. He's been very cooperative. We're in agreement.
Oh, what a deal. We take in all the illegals and Mexico watches. Biden's phone calls never work out. He calls Xi Jinping and they send a spy balloon. He calls the Saudis, they send him to voicemail. And he calls Mexico and they send 1 million more migrants. Anytime this White House says there's a deal being cut, things get worse. Remember when Kamala went to Central America to track down root causes? She cut some deals, sent them $4 billion and promised to open a Target in Guatemala. Did that stop anything? No. But Texas is doing something about it. Governor Abbott told the National Guard to put up some barbed wire to fill the gaps. Look at that. It's actually been effective. He's trying to protect the state and the country. But instead of saying thank you, the Biden team's trying to sue him. Listen.
We've just seen some images from Texas showing Texas National Guard and DPS physically blocking migrants from climbing up the riverbanks and accessing U.S. soil. Does the department believe that that's a legal enforcement posture by the state of Texas?
Nick, I'm going to leave it to our Department of Justice to speak to the lawfulness or lack thereof of those actions.
Yeah, it's illegal to close the border. Greg Abbott's the governor of Texas, who joins us now. So that wire looked effective. Do you have plans, Governor, to do more of that?
I do, Jesse. We have deployed some elite National Guard teams to respond to situations just like that. First, to put up barriers, whether it be the razor wire that you saw there or other barriers, and then have National Guard and Texas Department of Public Safety either in front of it or behind it. Our goal is to repel people from coming into the country. We see locations like what was shown in that video, and whenever we see them, we block it. Let me hearken back to December. There was a long line of migrants outside of El Paso trying to get into El Paso. When I saw that line, we deployed a group like this to set up a massive razor wire wall that's now 18 miles long, and overnight the migrants stopped flowing at that location into El Paso. We've seen this work. We're going to repeat it as often as possible up and down the border.
Good. You heard the president say he was on the phone with the president of Mexico for an hour. Have you ever spent an hour on the phone with our president?
So, Jesse, you may remember actually also in El Paso, I spent about 10 minutes on the tarmac of the airport in El Paso when I handed the president a letter that had in it 5 different things he could do under current American law to stop illegal immigration overnight. He shook his head, but never responded to me. I've sent the president 8 letters. He's never responded to it. So Texas, to the full extent we can, we're taking matters into our own hands.
So he ignores the American politician who's trying to work with him, and then he spends an hour on the phone with Mexico, who's doing flat out nothing. I have to make a personal request. I know this shouldn't be about me, but it always is. You got to send these illegals to somewhere else besides New York, because the traffic here is crazy. I was stuck behind a school bus full of illegal immigrants and their families for about 20 minutes. I almost missed the 5 today, Governor. Maybe some buses can go to Chicago or Philly?
So they're headed to Chicago. More than any other place, they love Lori Lightfoot.
Okay, good. Because it's getting a little filled up here in Manhattan. And I'm hearing they might have to block off whole streets. And that's not going to fly. I'm going to be late. And we need to hear from me. The country needs to hear from me on time. You promise you're going to send no more buses here?
No, sir.
Thank
There
you.
will be more there will be more going to New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, and other places across the country. One thing we're doing as we speak is loading up buses. They're en route to a location near you.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to have to readjust my commuting plans, but we like the barbed wire. Obviously, that's effective, and try not to get sued by the Biden administration. Thank you very much, Governor.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.